Hey, what's going on, world? You already know it's your boy SB, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Learning with Sauce. As always, I hope you're doing what you got to do to get to where you got to be. Before we get started, I just want to take a quick moment to thank each and every one of y'all that's been supporting this series. This has been something new to me, something I've been wanting to put together for a long time, and I finally stepped out of my comfort zone to make it happen. Along with these conversations that I'm giving to you, I've realized how much I've needed to hear these exact conversations. And today's message goes right along with the messages that I needed to tell myself. It's going to be one of those conversations that ruffles your feathers. But I promise you, I'm not trying to step on your toes. But however, I know you're stressing about life. I know things aren't working the way that you thought they would. And I'd like to offer you a piece of advice. It might not sound helpful, but I promise you it helps put everything in perspective. Hopefully, it has the same effect on you as it did on me while I was putting it together. So with that being said, we're going to dive into today's conversation. One of the most uncomfortable truths and toughest pills to swallow is that when a situation has served its purpose, you do more damage holding on than you do letting go. Here's another tough pill to swallow. If it was supposed to be another way, it will be that way. But since it is how it is, you just got to find a way to deal with it. Learning how to deal with transition is one of the most untaught lessons, but there's always a lesson to be learned when the situation is ended. It's in these moments of uncertainty that create legends, and that's why we are here today. So let's climb this mountain together. In order to truly reach your full potential, you must come face to face with the truth. We all have a colorful imagination when it comes to things and how they're supposed to be. But in certain situations, it's best to just look at the facts. It's human nature to tend to avoid having uncomfortable conversations because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. However, sometimes the only way clarity can be gained is by breaking down those walls. Here are a few reasons why it's great to have uncomfortable conversations. It is the catalyst moment where growth takes place. It challenges you to be introspective and take a deep dive into your actions and your thought processes. It helps you become self aware. It helps you identify areas of improvement. But the key to all of this is that it breaks you down, but provides the perfect starting point for a rebuild. I know a lot of times we expect certain situations to go our way and they don't. And it has a stronger impact on us than we realize. Sometimes we have to sit down and look at the facts. As bad as we want certain things to work out, as bad as we want certain things to go a certain way, it's best to just let everything fall apart in order for everything to come back together again. I know that's very uncomfortable to hear, but that's why we having this conversation, because I want you to understand the importance of what I'm telling you. You are stronger than your situations. You are stronger than the adversities that are in your path. And the only way to rebuild yourself up the way you know you need to be rebuilt is by having these uncomfortable conversations. Not only having uncomfortable conversations with other people, but having uncomfortable conversations with yourself. Because I say this all the time. One of the key attributes that needs to happen or you need to learn on your journey is accountability. And as much as we like to push blame on other people, as much as we like to push blame on certain random events that happen or, things that get in our way of our blessings, a lot of the times, as I've said before, that rejection was just redirection. A lot of times, we have a tendency to beat ourselves up or be down on ourselves or speak negatively over the things that we're going through. And while that's understandable, one thing that you have to do is you got to learn how to keep the faith. I've said this in a TikTok video a couple weeks ago. You can never lose your faith. And when you're having these conversations with yourself, it's gonna make you feel some kind of way. When you're looking in that mirror of accountability, a lot of people they try to run from that. But when you look into that mirror of accountability, you know the truth. You know the stuff that you could have did differently. You know the decisions that you made, they probably weren't the best. But as I always say, mistakes are the stepping stones to success. Nobody's perfect. No matter the image that they try to put on, like we said in the last episode, don't fall for that illusion, man. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But it's what we do after those mistakes that count. And it starts with having those uncomfortable conversations with yourself. Accepting and embracing the truth is the only way to set yourself free. Over the course of our lives, we mold ourselves to fit in certain areas. The desperation or need for money requires that we mold ourselves into the quote unquote model worker. That's why jobs have codes of conduct. In order to fit in certain relationships, we mold ourselves in a way to make us seem as if we're the perfect person. We try to be the perfect person and we mold ourselves into the molds of the person that society wants us to be. But the main issue is eventually we will outgrow this mold and we will see that the position was never intended for us to fill in the first place. We will see that while the relationship was good for a minute, it's become more of a burden than a loving experience and we've outgrown it. We will see that that job we thought we wanted because it paid good actually wasn't as rewarding as we expected it to be. My friend, outgrowing certain people, places, and things are actually good for you, and they're good things that need to happen in order for you to reach your full potential. You shouldn't feel guilty for outgrowing certain situations or seasons in your life. You shouldn't feel guilty for wanting better for yourself. You shouldn't feel guilty, for prioritizing yourself. But I just want to remind you, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when you go in the ground, you're going by yourself. You're going the same way that you came in. So with that perspective, you are the only person that answers for the decisions of your life. Yes, your decisions definitely have effects on the people around you. They definitely make major impacts on the people around you. But at the end of the day, you know what's best for you. And as it says, the truth shall set you free. You know what you're doing isn't fulfilling. You know what you're doing isn't giving you the results that you want. You know, you know what needs to be done, and this is your message that it's time to get it done. If it was supposed to be another way, it will be that way. But since it's not, you got to accept it how it is. The truth shall set you free. You got to look at the truth of the situation. I know that you want things to be better. I know you think that you can push through. And resilience and perseverance and persistence is something that I talk about often. But sometimes you got to know when to walk away. Sometimes you got to know when to stop forcing stuff and just let it happen organically, because the things that happen organically, they tend to last longer than the things that are forced. This process is going to cause growing pains. It's going to cause growing pains when you're letting go of certain things, certain people, certain places, certain job titles, certain expectations that people have for you. It's gonna hurt a little bit, but that hurt is actually good because it's letting you know that you're actually growing and going in the right direction of your life. And there's three ways to help you through these growing pains, and that's by acknowledging your feelings, living in your truth, and staying in this moment. When you acknowledge your feelings, you see that ending relationships and leaving jobs that you've outgrown sucks, and it does. But you know what sucks more? It's staying where you don't belong. In order to truly grow past anything is by accepting and embracing your feelings. You're not wrong for wanting more for your life. In fact, just by showing up for yourself, you did what most won't dare to try. And that also goes into our next point, living in your truth. Everything isn't meant to last. Some people, places, or things come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. What's meant to stay will. and what's meant to go will flow. But if you can learn to live in your truth, that's when the real things begin to take root. And by staying in this moment is the major key to all of this. Because I'm gonna break something down to you. Depression comes from past or previous events. And anxiety comes from the anticipation of future events that haven't happened yet. So with that being said, learning to stay where your feet are is the key to healing. By learning to be present, you're able to show love to this current version of yourself and make decisions that benefit your growth. A lot of times, I mentioned um, being intentional with your work. And 90% of being intentional is being in this moment. It's not worrying about what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. It's not worrying about what's going to happen next week, in the next 6 months, or the next year. It's about making sure you doing what you have to do today to seize the moment. A lot of times we spoil good situations of our life thinking about what used to be or what could have been, or we get too lost in the sauce and you know, we get too lost in the sauce and we start getting worked up about events that haven't happened yet. It's natural. And I'm not finna sit here and tell you that it's not. It's natural to do those things, but when you feel yourself getting carried away, you just gotta accept it for what it is, man. And you just gotta be in this moment. You're not where you want to be. The only way you're gonna get to where you want to be is work. It's not tomorrow's work. It's not yesterday's work. It's the work that you need to do today. If you can acknowledge your feelings, if you can learn to live in your truth, if you can be authentic with yourself, if you can stay in this moment, I promise you, you can climb any mountain that's in your way. Everybody, as we just talked about, everybody you come in contact with has a reason for being in contact with you. While it may seem random for you, the truth is that no interaction happens on accident. It happens by design. Some people cross your path very briefly to point you in the right direction of your goals. Some people stick around for a season because you may need support, companionship, and love to help you get through that season. But the real ones, they come into your life because they enjoy your company, and you realize that through all the trials and tribulations, they stayed when everybody else ran away. You need these situations to happen so you can realize that you're a big fish in a little pond. And sometimes you need this change to happen. You need these situations, these relationships, these jobs, these different scenarios to happen in order to guide you into where you need to be. Because regardless of how you meet somebody, everybody serves one of those three purposes. And at some point, these temporary and seasonal relationships will lose their spark. And that's no fault to anybody else. That's just two people growing at the rate that they need to grow. You will lose interest in that job. And while the world is attempting to make you feel guilty for doing what you want to do with your life, if it was supposed to be another way, it would. Take this moment of redirection towards your purpose and watch the magic fly. I say all the time, man, trusting the process is part of the game. And a lot of times, certain things happen for a reason. Certain momentum stops to help you pivot in another direction. And you realize once you get to where you actually need it to be, that it's better than where you want it to be. I say this all the time. Like when I was doing Team Flat Radio, I was asking for a lot of things that I knew I wasn't ready to handle. And I'm grateful that God and the universe was on my side to protect me from myself. Because if I got what I wanted a long time ago, we would not be here having this conversation right now. So remember, everything happens for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That's not our say on what happens when. It just has to happen. Like sometimes great great situations, they have a tendency to just abruptly end, and then you look around like, man, how did I get here? That's how it's supposed to be. You may be in a situation right now where you can't see your way out. You may be in a situation where it's foggy and you can't see your next step. You don't know if you're gonna fall into a sand pit or you're gonna actually reach it to your destination. But as we just talked about, you got to learn to stay in this moment. If you can learn to stay in this moment, All the lessons that you need to know, they will reveal themselves, and you'll see them, and you'll know exactly what to do. Don't try to rush something to end. Don't try to rush something to happen. Just go with the flow. It's human nature to want to be in control of 100% of your life. It's human nature. I would be lying if I said that didn't happen to me from time to time. But the one thing that brings me the most peace is the conversation that we're having today. If it was supposed to be another way, it'd be that way. If I have it in my mind of where I want to go, every decision that I make has to get me to that direction. I can't say that I want one thing and then want to make the opposite. It's like you hungry, for example, right? You can't say that you want to go in the kitchen and make a pizza and then walk out with chicken tenders and say, "Oh, that's not what I really wanted." Your decisions led you to making chicken tenders, but you really wanted pizza. That's a silly analogy, but just think about it for a second. Like if you want to go a certain direction in your life, then you need to go in that direction. You can't go the opposite way and then be mad that you didn't get to where you wanted to go. That's something to think about, as we on this journey. Because, the first thing that we need to do is accept that although it may be the end of one situation, it is making way for another. In this situation, you're going to reflect on the areas of improvement and you're going to figure out a way to bridge the gap between the two. You build the gap between the two by using one word: work. Nobody's coming to hold your hand through this part, and that's good. It's good because in this stage, you learn the value of strength. You learn the value of resilience. You learn the value of persistence. A lot of times I see it every day. People want somebody to hold their hand through the healing process. But my friend, if you really want to heal, if you really want to go places that you've never been, you got to learn how to take that trip by yourself. Sometimes you, like I said in the beginning, you do more damage holding on than you do letting go. Because when you let go, everything that's supposed to be for you is going to be for you. You can't catch blessings with your hands full. You got to learn how to drop some of that stuff out of your hands. You got to learn how to not be possessive of things, because that again is human nature. We want to be in possession of all these things, but you can't make room for what you really want and you still holding on to the past. You can't heal if you're holding on to the past. You can't move forward if you're still holding on to the past. You can't grow into the person that you need to be if you're still holding on to the person you were. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. If you want a better life, then you need to sacrifice all the decisions that you're currently making that's not leading you to where you want to be. And you need to dedicate that to where you want to go. If you want to be a certain type of person, you can't keep doing the things that you used to do, because this new person doesn't do the things that you're doing right now. And you know that. My friend, it's time to get to work, man. It's time to learn how to let go. One of the benefits of being forced out of your comfort zone is that you're allowing yourself to be exposed to new ways of thinking, opportunities for growth, and opportunities to pour into yourself. By refilling your cup, you are giving yourself permission to step into the unknown. By stepping into the unknown with the lessons learned via uncomfortable conversations, you are preparing yourself for what's next. Most people get their feelings hurt one time and they choose to stay in that bag. But in order to walk into this new season of your life, old baggage is not allowed. Just like the seed that you see here in this picture, it got buried in the soil. And in order to grow, you need rain just as much as you need sunshine. So it's time to walk away from the past. As I've been saying, if it was meant to be another way, it would. But since it's not, there's no need to hold on to the way it was supposed to be. The moral of the whole story, everything that we've been talking about today, is if it was supposed to be another way, it would be. But since it's not, take this moment to create what happens next. You're stronger than you think you are, and it's time to lock in on the mission. The more time you spend thinking about what's come and gone, it's time that you've wasted towards creating what you want. You can't be in two places at once. You're either in or you're out. You're either committed to growth or you're going to stay the same. You're either going to change your habits or you're going to keep doing what you've been doing. You can either, you want to lose weight or you can keep eating how you eat. You want to do all these things, but you're doing the opposite. You can't be in two places at one time. If you want to get to a certain area of your life, everything that you do, every single thing that you do needs to be working towards that direction. It's okay to have hobbies. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to do all these things. But one thing that my mom used to tell me when I was growing up, and I used to hate it, but now as I got older, I understand it. If you do it right the first time, you won't have to do it again. The lessons that we go through, the lessons that we learn, the adversities that we go through, they're there to teach us a lesson. And a lot of times we experience the same exact lesson over and over and over simply because we aren't doing it right. There's a lesson that needs to be learned and we're not learning it. But when we learn that lesson that needs to be understood in order to make it to that next level, we'll stop experiencing the same situation. Not to say that you won't face adversity again, because I'll say this all the time. Adversity happens on every level of your life. But the lessons that you're learning in this stage are going to help you get through on the next stage. And I'm not trying to come at you. I'm not trying to, say that what you're doing is wrong. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. It's time to make it happen, bro. It's time to do what you got to do to get to where you got to be. You know exactly what needs to be done. And right now, it's September 5th. I need you to lock in on your goals, fam. I need you to lock in on your goals. I need you to have this uncomfortable conversation with yourself. Acknowledge your mistakes. Look at the scars on your body. Reflect on how you earned them. And I want you to write them down, whether mentally or physically. I want you to write them down and burn them. Burn them. There's nothing good comes from reflecting on situations. That I take that back. Something good does come from reflecting on situations, but holding on to those feelings, hold on to those negative thoughts, allowing yourself to get sucked into that abyss, it does nothing for you. It does nothing for you. The lesson that you needed to learn, you learned it. There's no need to relive that hurt. There's no need to relive those negative experiences because it's only going to put you right where you don't need to be. So I got a couple affirmations that I want you to think about, that I want you to repeat to yourself every night before you go to sleep, every morning you wake up. That's going to help you move past this hurt. That's going to help you move past the anxiety of future events. If it was supposed to be another way, it would be that way. Since it's not, I owe it to myself to create the situation that I want next. I'm not defined by my past. I am not defined by the future. I'm defined by what I do right now. I let go of what no longer serves me to make space for new beginnings. Every ending offers me the opportunity for a beautiful new beginning. Letting go isn't always easy, but I give myself permission to move at my own pace. I am willing to believe everything will work out, even when it doesn't feel like it. A lot of people question affirmations. They don't think they work because they only use it one time. They only say it one time and they expect everything to magically change. But the key part of this message, the key part of having these uncomfortable conversations is that with affirmations, they rewire your brain in the way you think, the way you process. They rewire the experiences that you have. If you go to sleep thinking about the problems that you had yesterday, tomorrow they're still going to be there. But if you go to sleep in the morning saying, yesterday was yesterday, today is the day, when you tell yourself that you give yourself permission to move at your own pace, when you give yourself permission to believe that you're making room for new beginnings, when you letting go of what no longer serves you, I guarantee you the doors are going to open up for you. Because I'm going to tell you, man, like I said before, I've been publishing books for the last 3 years. I plan on doing one every year until I kick the can. And for a while, I fell into the trap. For a while, I felt that I was too old to chase my dreams. I felt that I should have been doing something else. I got a family now. I should have been, I should be focusing on providing for my family and all that stuff that I do. But when I think about the legacy that I want to leave behind me, when I think about what I want to show my kids, I can only show my kids that through the work that I put in. I can only show my kids that by forgiving myself for the mistakes that I've made and moving forward in that process. Because I promise you, if you can do those things, man, if you can take this conversation to heart and have this conversation with yourself, and just after you have it, just let it be what it is and move on from it. Start a new leaf, turn a new page, and start writing on a new page. I'm telling you, man, life is going to be beautiful for you. So, with that being said, man, that concludes today's episode of the Sauce Files. As always, I hope something was said that will encourage you to not only be the better version of yourself, but just to make room for the blessings that you ask for. And I also, just want to mention this. I don't know if y'all follow me on Instagram or not. I will be at FIU for the 5th book signing stop on the Power of Belief book signing tour, excuse me. And if you in Miami, man, why don't you come pull up on your boy, man? Come network with me. We got time. I want to have this very conversation with you in person, just to give you the affirmation, the confirmation that you need that it's time to make room for your growth. As always, man, if you enjoyed that conversation, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Jump in the comments below, man, and tell me what uncomfortable conversations you've had with yourself and how you've grown from those conversations. So with that being said, man, make sure you enjoy your night. You know what I'm going to tell you. Stay lifted, get lifted, stay inspired. It's your boy. Peace.